People tryna say I'm only in the meeting. Got a code with my dogs, can get in between. I can give them life, no more energy. Amen.
How are we doing, everybody? We got Black Friday. Pretty good Thanksgiving slate as far as the SGPs. We only hit the Dallas one, unfortunately. Both upsets winning. The other two was not planned. As far as the straights, those went well. I feel like overall we had a lot of great call-outs in the show. I hope you guys are able to cash out on some of those. But today we got Black Friday, and we got Philadelphia Eagles against the Chicago Bears. Game starts in about an hour and 8 minutes. So we're going to break everything down as we always do, give you guys the best touchdown props, rushing analysis, passing analysis, open it up to some Q&A. And then we're going to put together the parlays like we always do. But before we get into that, I got to ask my man, JJ, how are we feeling?
Feeling good, all that Thanksgiving food. I mean, how can you not feel good? It don't matter what happened in the games after that.
Oh, yeah. I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. JJ, it's good to hear you had a good Thanksgiving. Nothing like watching football, sweating out bets with nobody realizing how much money you have on the line. So it's a true Thanksgiving tradition. But
it's good when you fall asleep at halftime for the last game.
I didn't know. After, I think, once the Bengals took the lead, I think in my head I was like, oh, the Ravens are going to come back. I just stopped watching, and then
I had the opposite effect. That's how, they're not coming back. Not what I just witnessed.
I don't know. I'll always have too much trust in Lamar.
And the Lions.
Yeah, but that one's delusional. Lamar's actually usually reliable.
Yeah.
All right, let's start off with some of the touchdown analysis. And touchdowns went pretty well yesterday, actually. I know we didn't hit the touchdown parlay because of Mark Andrews, obviously, but we almost got the tight end aspect of it correct. I know Isaiah Likely didn't actually get in the end zone, but
that was brutal.
He got in there. What?
I said that was brutal.
Yeah, he pulled an Adonai Mitchell. But yeah, you gotta trust the process. Gotten us pretty far so far. We're gonna keep it pushing. So as far as where touchdowns are funneled to, we see Chicago here. They're 13th lowest rushing touchdown percentage allowed, so not really much of an edge there. However, in the last 3 weeks, a high volume of touchdowns coming in the rushing department at 62.5.
I wonder why that is.
We'll get into that in a second. After the touchdown. That's a fair call out, though. But then we got the Eagles here at third highest. So based on what we're seeing here, you want to target the running backs for both teams as far as touchdowns. And before we get into the injury report to explain why you had the confidence that you did, between Monangai and Swift on the Bears side, where are you leaning? Because I know that's something that I don't want to say it's been a debate. I think everybody just thinks it's going to Monangai. I think Monangai is the better back. I think it's lazy to ignore the fact that Swift fumbled the ball in the middle of the game, and that's when everything changed for usage.
Yeah. I mean, that's like one of the key things you just cannot ignore. But, I mean, at the same time, like you said, I think Kyle is the better running back. I think it's still going to be.
He's been the better running back. This isn't new information.
Yeah. After watching DeAndre Swift the last 3 years, like really just keeping an eye on him, not a fan.
I think it's just going to go back to 60-40 share with Swift. I think it's been long enough into the season that if you're watching, you can see guys better. I don't think one game where he fumbles in the middle of it is going to change anything. From the coach speak, he didn't say, "Oh, Swift is RB1," but he kind of dismissed it and it was like, "Yeah, Swift. We're going to keep using Swift." He didn't downgrade at all. So I think it's just going to be Swift 60-40 again. However, I'll save the rest for the rush analysis. Let's get into the injury report because there is some juicy details to talk about on the injury report. If I can get that up, that would be super helpful. Here we go. And share screen. So I went too far. Bears and Eagles. We're going to start off with the Bears because you guys can see linebacker, linebacker, linebacker. All of them are out. A defense that was already bad at defending the run has now lost their 3 starting linebackers. Linebackers that I did not think were good.
Not even just the starter, even the backup.
Yeah. The backups to the guy that already wasn't good is also hurt. You got to imagine who's behind it. But the other side of it is Kyler Gordon, DB, Jalen Johnson, DB. 2 very good defensive backs are back. And I expect the Bears to lean into the man coverage that I think they wanted to come into the season with now that their 2 best man coverage defensive backs are in. So you got bad linebackers, good defensive backs. 2 + 2 = 4. You're either passing to the tight ends or you're running up the middle if you're smart. And then on the Eagles side, not much to talk about except this is a big one. Lane Johnson at tackle is out. And the reason I say that is because the running efficiency of the Eagles goes down significantly when you look at splits with him on and off the field. However, I could be mistaken. I think he missed last week against Dallas. And we know Dallas's run defense has gotten a lot better lately, so that could have been a matchup thing. But that's really that's just something to be mindful of in terms of betting on the Philadelphia run game. But like we said, that matchup is just so golden right now. I know JJ's itching to talk about it, so I'll give him the floor real quick.
Yeah, I mean, when you just look at this Bears run defense, it has just been awful all season. And then now the last 2 weeks, that's when they started to lose their linebackers. Let me look at the performances from these running backs the last 2 weeks.
It wasn't good. When Kenny Gainwell is dropping 100 yards on you, it's usually a big red flag.
Yeah. So we'll start with the first one, week 11. So we got the Vikings, right? Aaron Jones, 16 carries, 70 yards. Jordan Mason, 6 carries, 45 yards. So you got over 100 yards combined there. And then, I mean, same thing. Week 12, Jalen Warren, 18 carries, 68 yards. Kenneth Gainwell, 10 carries, 92 yards. I mean, that's about 150 yards there. So, like, if Saquon doesn't do good here, I have no faith in Saquon at all.
The washed allegations will be looking more and more true the longer he keeps this up against matchups like this. I'll pull up Saquon on the website too, see if any of the bad play has been more attributed to matchups or if it's purely just he's been bad. So I'll pull that up on the screen as well. Where are we? Here we go. There we go. All right, so we got the rushing yards. And what's his line? 75.5?
I think it's 78.
75.5 at Fanatics minus 156. That doesn't count. 78.5. Mickey book. All right, so on the season, he's only over this line in 3 of 11 games, right? Let's check matchups. Chicago, 4th or 5th worst yards per game allowed. So if we filter for games against bad run defenses, it's still 1 of 5. But he obviously has that giant blow-up game against the Packers. Let's see if we can look at yards per attempt. Just above average, we got 2 of 5. Dallas, we know they're not below average anymore, so you can kind of filter that out. Giants, 150 and 58. We'll combine that. It's the same matchup twice, so 200 yards between that. And then 60 against Dallas, 88 against Kansas City. It also is worth mentioning that divisional games are traditionally weirder when you're looking at matchup because they've seen each other so many times that there's a little bit more chess going on. So this Kansas City game is really the most valuable one to look at here, and he did have a good game here. So he's faced a lot of bad matchups so far. Granted, I don't want to say that that's the only reason his production has been down. It just helps when considering it's over in a good matchup.
Yeah.
Anything else you want me to pull up here?
I think that's about it from there. Because I
Right.
went to look at the offensive lines. We look at the first 7 weeks for the Eagles. They're only getting like 1.64 yards before contact. And then the last 5 weeks, it's gone up to, I think, like 2.6. I mean, that's a huge jump. I mean, like a whole yard. And like when you look at him, let me see. Fill update.
Another thing I'll say while you're looking for that too, that Chicago has the fourth highest stack box rate, and stack box in this scenario that I'm saying is 7 players or more in the box. That's hard to do when you have bad linebackers because any mistake in, like, if you get blocked, what might be a 6-yard run with linebackers covering the defensive lineman's ass turns into 25 yards because that linebacker is not capable to fill that gap. So he might get
Especially when you're
stuffed
in a
more.
base personnel.
Yeah,
Like
he might get
linebackers are so
stuffed
key in
more,
that.
but there's gonna be some. If there's ever gonna be a Saquon type explosive rush, it's gonna be in this game.
Yeah. I mean, the Bears the last 2 weeks are allowing almost 4 yards before contact. That's insane.
Tyrone
When you look-
Tracy has 71 yards, for God's sake.
When Barkley sees at least 1 yard before contact this season, he's averaging 6.6 yards per carry.
Where does that rank in the NFL? Do you know?
Let me check.
Yeah, I'm big on Barkley today. I know we were big on Derrick Henry today for or yesterday for similar reasons. Great start on that. I don't know what the Ravens were doing after that first drive.
I don't
But
know.
I think this is more similar to the Christian McCaffrey we had a couple days ago, where it's just like, hey, we know it hasn't been there, but it's been getting better, and the matchup is really good. I feel like this is a little bit of the same here.
Yeah.
You could take rush plus receive. Personally, I would rather just take the rushing yards by itself. But the Bears have also been leaky against the running backs in the receiving game too. We got 30 to Kenneth Gainwell, 75 to Chase Brown, 30 to Jeremy McNichols, 17 to Ashton Genty. None to the Saints backs. Let me check. Kamara only had 1. But then, like, Devin Singletary, 53. There's some big plays in the receiving game against him too.
Yeah. So it looks like when you look at least 1 yard before contact, he's top 20 in the league. He's like 16th. Explosive rushing yards, 16th. Success rate, it's like 28. This is out of 40 running backs. So I think when you get his, it looks like the biggest thing for him is getting hit behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Let me see.
I think the other issue is those 50-yard runs last year are sticking at like 15 this year. That's the one I'll hold against him. Is he hasn't been breaking off the explosive ones when he's had a chance to, even if the other ones aren't necessarily his fault. There hasn't been the balance.
Yeah.
I'll get to some of the questions in the chat as well. Saquon 30-yard touchdown incoming. It's looking like it. Swift is better than Monunga, just a fumbling problem. No, he's not. We have not been watching the same DeAndre Swift, if that's the case.
I've been watching DeAndre Swift for so long.
I think there was a stat at some point in the season. I think it was Jacob Gibbs was the one that was displaying it, or maybe it was somebody else. But it was basically saying that the Chicago Bears scheme and run blocking has been like top 5 in the NFL, but their running backs are still producing below average in terms of yards per carry in the run game and success rate. So it's like literally everybody is doing their job except DeAndre Swift.
That was definitely Gibbs. I remember that.
Yeah. Saquon touchdown. I do like Saquon touchdown a lot. I have no idea what the odds are. I'd be shocked if it's playable. If it's playable, I'm probably in. Doc, what's your thoughts on Hurts rushing? Chicago lost the 3rd most to QB rushing. It doesn't seem like they're that willing to let Hurts use his legs. I think the coach was actually asked about it like very recently. I'll see if I can pull up the quote. But it was one of those things where it didn't inspire a lot of confidence in like, oh, like if the chances are going to be there. Okay, here it is. I think he's on why Jalen Hurts has not been running as much this season. I think he still does a great job. He's made really good plays for us with his legs when we need him, especially in the last couple of games. I think if you look at some of the plays, there's a few where it could be him running or him throwing, and the throws have happened a little bit more this year than the run. We will continue to use that because it is a dynamic part of the offense. When he's running the ball, he does a great job with it. So kind of it just seemed like a cop-out answer. It was more of like hey, we're not telling him not to use it, but we have no reason to ask him to do it more than he has been. And I feel like it hasn't been there so far this season. So even in good matchups. So if it hasn't been there before, I'm not exactly betting on it showing up today.
But it definitely could happen with those linebackers. Like I think it's like just one run.
But then the issue is, if those linebackers are going to be so bad and Goddard's open 10 yards down the field anyways, why would Jalen Hurts run? That would be the other
also
issue.
True.
And this isn't me saying it's a bad play by any means. It's more just like,
yeah,
it's not just like if this then that, because there's also this other thing. We haven't projected 29.7 yards. It seems like his rushing line is 35.5. He has been running more recently, which is nice. But I just, well, I'll say recently loosely because he's under in his last 7 games. Oh, he's soaring over today. There's no way they're setting this line at that. Yeah, he's soaring today. Take one over 50 yards. Yes, go ahead and smash that. Would you not prefer over 16.5 longest rush? I like it just as much, but my mindset is if the breakaway run doesn't happen, I also wouldn't be surprised if he gets between 10 to 15 yards multiple times, and they just keep hammering the run because that's where the matchup is. Like, I could absolutely see like a 22 rush attempt game from Barkley for like 95 yards. What's your take on the longest rush, JJ?
I mean, I feel like it's a great spot to have one. I mean, honestly, I can feel like you can go either way. I think after him having 10 carries last week, they're going to go back to feeding him the ball, especially in a matchup like this. It just makes a ton of sense.
Swift's been disappointing for 2 years. Yeah, he has. It's not even disappointing anymore. That's the expectation. Caleb Williams rushing. That's one we can talk about, and that's one I feel like we've targeted rushing QB rushing props against Philly for a while now. I know you mentioned the difference in scheme a little bit defensively, so I'll let you talk about that. But that change in scheme does concern me for QB rushing.
Yeah, the last 5 weeks they've went more zone, and also the other thing is they've been blitzing a lot less too. They've been bottom 5 in blitz rate for like 5 straight weeks. So kind of thing, you got a 4-man rush. They're still getting pretty good pressure. That's just extra defenders there to go contain the scrambles.
So my view on Caleb Williams, and I do still like his rushing prop, but I'm less excited to take it now than I was when I was trying to earlier in the season based off of last year's numbers, because Ben Johnson, again, from the press conferences and stuff and post games, he likes the fact that he uses his legs, and he likes the fact that like when it's there, he uses it. But from a development standpoint, it seems like they're trying to have him move his feet in the pocket and stay in the pocket as long as possible. So unless there's like a defensive miscue, I feel like he's not wanting to run. But it also means when he does run, there's bigger chunks coming with it. Let's see. I want to check the rushing yards per attempt throughout the season. So it started out 9.6, 5.4, 2.4, 1.63. Those were the first 4 weeks. After that, 8 yards per carry, 10.6, 7.88, 6.5, and 5.25. So it is declining again, but it is still like significantly higher than it was before the bye. So I don't think that's a coincidence. I do think I still like the matchup, but I stopped targeting Philly because of that difference. And we can see if we can check any matchup-based stuff here. You said they're running a lot more cover 6, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is what's going to kind of do it. Here's his game log against teams. If you filter out the teams that just don't use cover 6 at all. He's over in – he's – hey, Bruno. So his line's 21.5. He's under in 5 of 6 games, with the one game being Baltimore by 2-3 yards. If you look at other quarterbacks in this matchup, Dak Prescott at 9, Jordan Love 28, which is good, Jackson Dart 17, Carson Wentz 28, Bo Nix 22. So it's not that it's not that quarterbacks are going crazy on them, but they're not doing bad against them either. I think it's a lot more of a luck-based prop than it used to be if we're looking at a matchup standpoint, but I do like it. Saquon anytime touchdown is minus 140. That's probably a good value. He's just addicted to going down at the 1-yard line. DJ Moore, 1.5 rushing yards. What am I missing? I know he lines up in the backfield. Is he actually running the ball? Have I been missing?
Yes, if I remember correctly.
Let's check this out. Rushing yards. We haven't projected 4.18 rushing. I can't even look at rushing yards on the side. I got to tell the engineers to change that. I guess it makes sense if he's been lining up in the backfield. It makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the pass game, and then I'll answer some more questions. So I know you talked about the change in scheme for Philly a little bit already. I still like Rome Odunze for a few reasons. One, they're terrible against the outside receiver that Quinyon Mitchell is not guarding. And Rome Odunze moves around. They use him in motion sometimes. He has a 30 to 40% alignment ratio on the left, the right, and the slot. Quinyon is really only shadowed, I'm talking above 65%. Devontae Adams and Cortland Sutton, 2 receivers that pretty much exclusively run from the X. Devontae Adams moves a little bit, but not as much as Rome. So the other receivers that are moving around are they're just getting to do whatever they want. Anytime they're matched up against the DB that's not Quinyon, it's just been absolute food. So I'll pull up his game log as well, because even if it has gone down a little bit on the season, the Eagles do run the most cover 1 in the NFL. So for what that's worth, I'll tell you why that could be important if they stick with that here. So his line was 45.5. I think it's 46.5 now. If you filter for games, if you filter out the top, bottom 10 defenses in cover 1 usage, over in 4 or 5 games, 3 absolute boom games. If you look at the air yards in those games, we have 200, 98, 147, 143, and 117. That's a lot of opportunity. And then the next thing we can filter for, if we are worried about the Philly changing scheme, is they're still allowing air yards, 3rd most air yards per game in the NFL. If you filter out the bottom half teams and air yards allowed per game, you see Rome has gone over in every game. So the concern with him is the weather. However, it's not 40-mile-per-hour winds. It's 15 to 20. The quarterbacks have played in 15 to 20-mile-per-hour winds all their life.
The problem is when the gusts get over 30 miles an hour. Outside of that, for this game, it should be good because the gust, it looks like it's going to stay 25 or less.
Here's the reason that I'm not as worried, not as worried, because obviously that's concerning. Is that worth a 20-yard drop in the line? Because based on this usage, he should be high 60s, low 70s. That's more air yards per game than CD, who we just laddered to 100-plus yards last night and hit. Granted, we got bailed out by a 50-yard deep shot, but he also had 44 yards in the first drive. So in any sport, not just this, but in any sport, you chase hidden opportunity that hasn't been realized, and I think that's what we have here with Rome. I can check his deep targets as well in terms of how many of them are coming deep. So The last game, 4 of his 9 targets were deep. The game before, 5 of 6. The game before that, 5 of 10. Baltimore game, 6 of 10. So it's still only half his targets are even coming at 15 yards, which whether as long as it's not like hail and 50-mile-per-hour winds, you can throw a 10-yard pass. Anything above like between like 15 and 25, as long as we avoid those gusts you're talking about, should still be doable. It's really just like the 40-yard deep bombs that you got to worry about. And that's would be nice if we get it. It's not what I'm banking on. Those are like the once or twice type of plays, once or twice a game type of plays that happen. You should never be banking on those. But yeah, that's what I got for Rome. I know you got some stuff to share about Luther, and then we can talk about the DJ Moore, Loveland, Komet wheel.
Yeah. So, I mean, when I look at the Bears, since week 6, that's when kind of Luther Burden's been getting a little bit more involved. But it wasn't until the last 2 weeks he's had like a full-time slot role. And I know you're targeting more outside because that's kind of where they've been a little bit weaker at. But it's like when I compare both Luther and Odunze, I mean, no blitz and zone coverage because that's just kind of what they've been doing a little bit more of lately. Both lead the team in targets per out run, but Burden edges them out in first read share. And I mean, they both have above 2.0 yards per out run the last few weeks. I mean, I think either one is a really good play, especially for where their lines are at. Because what was Odunze at? He said like 45?
45 and a half.
Yeah, and Burden's at 34 and a half. I mean, if they're getting similar targets, I mean, I don't see why Burden's line should be that much lower than Odunze here. It's been those two have been the clear guys.
His efficiency has been unbelievable. It's one of those where, like, I see it and I'm like, yes, the yards per out run, the opportunity, and the betting line like don't match up. One of them is wrong, and it's the betting line. But it's almost so unrealistic that it's the mindset of I know it's going to go wrong as soon as I put my coin on it.
I feel that.
But we can get into DJ Moore, Komet, Colson, Loveland scenario because Cole Komet came back and I think it kind of took Loveland down a peg when he was hyped up, when he was going crazy during the non-Komet weeks. I'll pull up the exact percentages. Colson Loveland, yeah, last week, 68% route share is good, 58%, 56% the weekends before that. So he's starting to climb back up to that 75, 78% that we saw in the games without Komet. But when the advantage is on the outside and you also don't know, like, it's completely realistic for them to be like, yeah, we still like Komet. We're going to bump him back up to 55%, let's say. Those snaps could be very crucial for specifically the tight end position where you're not exactly living in an abundance of targets just because the routes are coming. It's a lot more scheme dependent and whether you're chipping blocks and all that stuff. So
we've been mixing in some more 12 personnel too, so it kind of gets them both out there. But it's like when you're looking at people that are earning targets, oh yeah, that's going straight to Loveland.
Oh yeah. Oh, if it's between Loveland and Komet, I'd laugh at anybody that chooses Komet right now. They spent good capital on Loveland. He's looked good. The route share is coming up. It's just playing with a 2 tight end set where you're picking a rookie wide receiver where the matchup isn't favorable to that part of the field. I feel like it's in my opinion, it's getting too cute. But I also don't want to take the under because the snap share is coming up.
Yeah. So the last 3 weeks, there's 3 players when not facing a blitz. Because that's the one thing that's just been staying consistent with the Eagles. They're just not blitzing. I mean, bottom five rate week after week. I think we can count on that, right? Whether they play zone or man. There's only 3 players that have double-digit targets the last 3 weeks. That's Loveland, Burden, and Odunze. They're all within 2 targets of each other, between 11 and 13. So one of those 3 are getting the ball here.
Let's just keep it to those 3. Hopefully we don't have to worry about anybody else. One thing that is interesting, when I first saw it, it made me think of Swift, but now that I'm like starting to think it through as I'm saying it, it might even be more beneficial to DJ Moore. The Eagles suck against screens. They're literally the worst. They allow the most yards per reception on screens to, I think it was running back specifically when I was looking at it, but just overall, they're not good
You
against
thinking
screens.
DJ Moore out of the backfield for a screen pass?
It's screen like out of the backfield or just a wide receiver screen. I'm just thinking of the screen game in general. I feel like
Yeah.
that's been the criticism of how coaches have been using DJ Moore for years, and even with the new offensive coordinator and coach, it doesn't change. It's just we're using a screen. DJ Moore is perfect, and then like 3 of his 4 targets in every game is a screen. But that could be something that's works for him. He's been tough this season because when I watch whether he does good or bad, I feel like it's not whether like he won his routes this game, he didn't win in the other one. It's not they play man coverage or zone coverage. It's just been like, what DJ Moore are we getting today? I don't. If there's been a trend that you've found, please share it with me. Anybody in the comments as well. But he's been an enigma for me this year.
I haven't found a trend, but mainly I haven't looked for the trend. But I kind of want to look for the trend during this game.
Yeah, see if anything sticks out. I'll pull him up to see if it's like maybe it's just when teams allow more passing yards per game. But let's see. His line is 34.5. That is low for DJ Moore. I guess that happens when Luther Bird starts taking over. But I'll share my screen here. The other thing to be careful for with Eagles games that I think we've seen in the past couple primetime games with them is their defense is good, so they don't allow a lot of first downs, and their offense just milks clock whenever they drive the field. So games, what do they finish? 10-7, 13-6? Like there's not a lot of offense going on. So I'm looking at some of these lines. Like I sent you Caleb Williams. I was looking at his passing yards last night. I was like, bro, he's over in like every game except for 2. But then I remember the last couple of Eagles games I watched. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's why. It's because there's not a lot of passes.
Yeah.
So here's the DJ Moore log. Let's see if we can play around with it and find something. So against cover 1, good against every game against the Giants game. Let me see if I filter out any games for no routes. No, none of that. If I filter out non-blowouts, it filters out the Dallas game. That game got away from him early. So Green in every game except for 2 of the last 3 could, I would say, buy low spot, but when the most recent one is a 64-yard game, I don't know if that works here. Minnesota and New York, I guess maybe you can say they're both run funnels. That's the only thing I could maybe say. So if you remove bad run defenses and non-blowouts, he's over in every game this season. You're just, at that point, you're just playing with fire on the whole Luther Burden split. As far as, I think that's actually everything we need to talk about on that side. Now let's go to the Philly side. AJ Brown, let's big AJ Brown, like I'm sure he's going to bounce back in future years. It has not just been a scheme thing. Matt Harmon did tracking for him in week 1, week 4, and week 12. There's not a bigger AJ Brown fan coming into the year than Matt Harmon. And he was like, he gave the numbers. He was like, it's not good. He's not winning his routes. It doesn't matter if it's man coverage or zone coverage or press coverage. It doesn't matter if it's in breaking or out break. He's just straight up not winning his routes. And that's, as physical as he is, as good at the catch point as he is, that's been one of the biggest things with him. It's just like, he's always open. It's just he's playing the X receiver, which is the hardest position to like get the ball to when it comes like deeper developing routes and playing on the borders rather than through the middle of the field. So if you're playing the hardest position as far as a receiver role, you're running the hardest routes and you're not getting open and you're facing against Jalen Johnson, who I think is I'm going to say top 3. I think that was a hotter take, but I'll say he's definitely a top 5 corner in the league, at least when healthy. We don't know how healthy he is. I'm not excited for anybody. If you're betting on AJ Brown today, good luck to you. You're on your own. I'm not doing that with you.
I'm not excited about this passing game at all.
Only one I'm excited for is Dallas Goedert.
Yeah.
But his lines are also like higher than normal. I think rightfully so. I think I'm a big Dallas Goedert fan today. Maybe I'll put him in like a leans lotto. I don't think I'll be betting him as straight, but AJ Brown's out of the mix for me. Saquon's receiving opportunities, they're not like, it's not designed a lot of the time. It's not a lot of screens. It's not like, oh, he's the fourth read in a check down. It's just a lot of his receptions are coming. He's just running out of the backfield, and there's nobody going with him. And Jalen Hurts is like, oh, yeah, he's wide open. I'm just going to throw it to him. But there's not like a very consistent process where, like, if this happens, then this, as far as a defensive scheme or offensive game plan. So I don't want to bet on that. And then that leaves Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert. I don't know how healthy Kyler Gordon is. Maybe Jalen Johnson does match up with Devontae Smith instead of A.J. Brown, which that could ruin the Devontae Smith upside
How healthy
as well.
do you think Devontae Smith is? So he was on the injury report.
Healthy enough. I can't remember the last time he was on the injury report, and then I watched him play, and I was like, oh, yeah, he looks injured. It doesn't happen often. So I'm not, from an injury standpoint, like maybe that ends up having an effect. It's not something that I'm worried about coming into it. But I'd still rather play Dallas Goedert, just given the matchup. Those linebackers are going to be terrible. The middle of the field is going to be wide open for him. There's going to be such little communication. Yeah, it's Dallas Goedert and Saquon. Nobody else should really be touching the ball for the Philadelphia offense today.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, when you look at Dallas Goedert, he's like such a great safety valve. I think that gets so overlooked.
So consistent. I feel like I'll be like, oh, I haven't seen Dallas Goedert in a minute. And I'm like, oh, he has 40 yards, and he also just caught a 20-yarder on the next one. It's like –
and he's great with yak, too, for a tight end.
Oh, yeah. It feels like every time, like, oh, everybody's out. What are they going to do? And it's like, oh, 120 yards for Dallas Goedert today. How you doing? All right, so we're going to open it up to some Q&A in the chat before we get into the parlay aspect of the show. So if you guys have any questions of anybody you want us to talk about specifically, whether it be a specific prop or a game scheme, we can do that as well. We already got some of them coming in. Somebody said, I haven't checked in a few weeks, but doesn't Edmonds still lead the Bears defense in interceptions from the linebacker position? That is something we can check. I just Googled Google. Bears linebackers interceptions this season. Yeah, Edmonds has 4 interceptions this season, tied for third in the NFL with Nashawn Wright. So, yeah. Sounds about right. What do you guys like for Goddard just joined? Honestly, I think anything works. I think pick your poison. Receptions, receiving yards, I think all of it's undervalued. I think it's just one of those where the matchup's so good for him. If he goes over, he's going over everything. Yeah. Hurts anytime touchdown. Do you think Saquon goes down at the 1? It's really the only question to ask there. That's all it comes down to. If you think Saquon scores, take Saquon. If you think he doesn't, it's Hurts. But one of the running back or there's going to be a rushing touchdown involved somehow. Swift over 10.5 receiving yards. That is the only DeAndre Swift prop I am acceptable with somebody playing because I mentioned how bad the screen game is, and I think that is the one thing that, like, hey, this is how we're going to use Swift. If he gets 10 snaps, if he gets 50 snaps, we're running a screen with DeAndre Swift. So DeAndre Swift 10.5 receiving yards is actually something I do like. Thoughts on Zacchaeus, 1 receptions or over 4.5 receiving yards? It's Luther Burden season. It's something that I took a look at. Caleb Williams does like throwing to him when he's on the field, but it's at what point does Luther Burden just take all the snaps? I mean, they used enough capital on him where you kind of, unless Burden does something, they're just going to keep having him eat into Zacchaeus snaps more and more. I do think it is a bit of an overreaction to have him at 1 reception and 4.5 receiving yards. I'm not going to play it officially. But if you are looking for an extra sweat or like you're on DFS and you need one final leg for a 5-minute or 6-minute or something, I see the vision. Absolutely. Thoughts on Monungai anytime touchdown? JJ, do they trust Swift in the end zone?
I kind of lean towards Monungai scoring a touchdown here out of the 2.
He's been sneaky good, like efficient in the red zone. I feel like I'll see if I can look up the actual stats, but I feel like obviously we're watching more like red zone and stuff. Like I'm not, when there's 7 games on, I'm not just sitting and watching the Bears game, so it could be that. But
yeah,
anytime they're in the red zone, I feel like Monangai touches it and it's within like 10 yards. I feel like it's finished in a touchdown pretty consistently. Let me check inside the 10 the last 5 weeks. And Chicago. All right, so the last 5 weeks, Monangai's had 10 attempts and 3 touchdowns. Swift has had 7 attempts and 1 touchdown. If I look at just the last 3 weeks, because I can't remember which week it was. I think it might have been week 9 that Swift was out. So just the last 3 weeks, Monangai 5 attempts, Swift 3 attempts. Monangai 22 yards. So Jesus, 4.4 yards per carry. That's inside the 10-yard line. There are running backs in the NFL that don't have that average. Most of them don't have that average on the season. Granted, it's only 5 attempts, but that's still nuts. So 5 attempts, 3 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks. DeAndre Swift 3 attempts, 1 yard, 0 touchdowns. Yeah, DeAndre Swift is not touching the ball in scoring position. If he scores, it's gonna have to come from the screen. Yeah, I like that one a lot. Saquon 23.5 yards in the first 5 attempts. JJ, that's an interesting market. What do you think? Would you rather? Let's put it this way: would you rather have? We're betting on the matchup. Would you rather have the bailout potential in the third quarter, or would you rather not have to worry about volume and just knock it out of the way early?
I feel like the first drive usually does pretty well, and then, like, if it's gonna struggle, it kind of tapers off until like the fourth quarter. But I mean, with this kind of matchup,
or just in general,
just in general,
I feel like it's
23
more.
and a half on the first 5 attempts. I kind of do like that.
I might have to disagree with you there because I feel like what running backs try and do, I feel like those big runs come in the fourth quarter more because the linemen are more worn out.
Could be, but not everyone's Derrick Henry though.
That's fair. That's fair. There was a running back that said that in the press. Oh no, it wasn't Adrian Peterson. Who was it? I'm sure it'll come to me as soon as we're done with this. Do you guys talk Caleb Williams rushing yards? We did. I like it. The Philly scheme that's been favorable to quarterbacks rushing, it's changed a little bit. So from a matchup standpoint, don't love it as much. But from an efficiency standpoint, I think it does work really well.
I'm right there with you.
Doc, are you already on Rome yards and the ladder? Yeah, I laddered to 80+. I'm a big Roma Doomsday fan today. How do you feel about Caleb Williams' pass attempts? Eagles slow down games a lot, so I'm not the biggest fan of it. We've seen the last few primetime games you've been watching. It's a lot of Eagles milk the clock and then not allow first downs to extend drives for the other team. So you're like another 3 and out, and then you don't get the ball for like another 7 minutes, and the game finishes 13-10, and nobody's excited. So I feel like that hurts the opportunity there. Hurts under interception, not with Jalen Johnson back. I wouldn't. Saquon over 100.5 rush plus receive. It just feels a lot higher than the 75, and it was 75.5 rush yards. Is that the betting line?
I think it's like 78.
So you're looking at another 22.5 yards from receiving. I guess it's not that bad as far as the difference in value. I think I'd rather just have. I would personally rather have the rushing, but I know we talked about how they've been giving up some boom plays in the receiving game, so maybe it is safer. How come my questions aren't popping up? Is that not the one we answered earlier? Yeah, we talked about Monangai touchdown.
Yeah.
Saquon over or under rushing yards? Over for sure. Caleb Williams under 22.5 rushing. I think we lean the over, but it's not one that I'm like super confident in by any means. Do you guys like any kicking props for this game? Not with this weather, no. I think I'll say this is one I forgot to bring up earlier because when I was thinking about it. I might like Jalen Hurts rushing attempts more just because I feel like they're more likely to go for it on like a 4th and 2 with like just hope a tush push gets you 2 yards because they don't want to take the field goal in that weather. Or they pull the Dan Campbell, and when it's like 3rd and 4, they run it with the anticipation of going forward on 4th down because of the field goal situation with the weather. Thoughts on Eagles to cover -6.5? It's going to depend entirely on the run game.
Yeah.
See, I'm a big proponent in Bears are frauds. There's some Lions bias there. But 6.5 feels like more points than it should be. It feels like the Chiefs-Dallas situation last night, where it's just, I thought the Chiefs were the better team. I thought it should have been a pick 'em, but the Chiefs were fairly large favorites away at Dallas. I think this one is in Philly, so there is that. I'm taking Eagles to cover. If that running game gets going for Philly, it's just over.
And that's where I'm at.
Would you guys take Saquon at rushing attempts over rushing yards? In this matchup, I'm taking yards. I want every bit of that matchup I can get. Loveland over 31.5 receiving yards. JJ, is that too high for you, or do you like that?
I don't think it's too high. The way I see it, he finishes around like 34 to 40 within that range.
That's fair. Hydro, how we doing? I see you. You guys think Chicago's defense can keep forcing I think that he meant to say turnovers and his keyboard was messing with him. In the pass game, yes. I'm just reluctant into how much Hurts is going to be throwing the ball from a pass rate standpoint. I don't think they're going to force fumbles, though. So if Hurts is trying to sling it to A.J. Brown, who's not open for the 50th time, and Jalen Johnson is in coverage, that's a pick. What else we got that I haven't talked about yet? Rome receptions or yards? I'm taking yards because he's more intermediate to deep work, and if he's open, he's really open. So you can catch it for 12 and then run for another 8, and I want a piece of that. I think the Bears are frauds. They haven't beat anybody above 500. Their run defense is bad. Their pass defense has been bad, but now they get some reinforcements, and so I'll give them the pass defense. I'm not scared of their defensive line from a pass rush standpoint. Caleb Williams is like, when he's on it, he's on it. You don't want to play him. But it's every given drive. You don't know which Caleb Williams you're getting. If you're getting the rookie Caleb Williams or the new and reformed Caleb Williams. The running game, now that Monunga's getting more work, they might be better. But Swift was not doing it for me. I don't know. I'll say this about the Bears. They've been frauds. There is a lot of room to prove us wrong. But until they do, I'm going to say they're frauds. Like, I can see, Monunga gets more work. Rome Odunze stops dropping passes. Caleb Williams gets more consistent. Now the offensive side of the ball looks nuts. Kyler Gordon and Jalen Johnson start balling. These third-string linebackers are actually better than the starters. Now the run game looks good. Like, there is potential for them to be a legit playoff team, but until I see it, it's not there. Goddard, anytime touchdown. I just don't trust Philly to throw the ball in the red zone, but if they do, he's the main target in my opinion. Thoughts on Burden over 33.5 receiving yards? JJ, I know that's prop that you're on.
I'm already on Burden over, so I would say yeah.
So we just want every throw to go to Luther Burden or Rome Odunze.
Yep, and Loveland.
But they have Ben Johnson. I think year 2, they give the NFC North a run for their money. Ben Johnson seems like a coach that's like really smart, but not like a leader. And I feel like when I look for like good head coaches, I look more for that. So I could be wrong, but Mike McDaniels is a great example of that archetype, I think, and we see how that's going right now. I think Caleb completes 59%, below 59% of his passes. Yeah, but those 59%, they look really damn good. He looks like he's on his way to Super Bowl. That other 41% looks real bad. It's not like, you're not going to complete every pass. It's not one of those. It's like, what's going on? That's the other 41%. All right, that's all the questions. We got 20 minutes until game time. JJ, parlay time. What are we doing?
I think. I
All right,
feel like
which
we got to
one?
throw Barkley in there, right?
I was about to say it's either Saquon, Hurts, or Monungai. Which one do we want there?
Yeah, it's going to have to be Saquon.
Saquon is minus 115, dude. That's nuts. I'm gonna throw Monungai in a lotto. I'm telling you that right now.
Throw a Burden anytime touchdown in the lotto, too.
44.5 on MGM at least. 47.5 everywhere else. It's annoying. Saquon rushing yards.
Yeah.
And Eagles spread or Bears alt spread?
I think we can take the Eagles spread.
Eagles money line or Bengals or Bears plus 12.5?
Money line.
Money line it is. Oh, we might need a little bit more. That's only plus 230. I thought that was going to get us to plus 300. Let's see what the minimum is. So 3 legs. It needs to be max bet $5. DraftKings, what the hell is that? They know we're hitting. That's the problem. That's what it is. All right, let's check FanDuel. FanDuel is plus 222. We might have to take the Eagles on the spread to make this work. All right, we have the option actually. Oh, there's a flash sale, and then we have an option of 50% boost, no sweat bet, or bet back token. I usually just take 50% boost. So let's do that.
Yeah.
We can use a 50% boost at plus 222. Would you rather? So we can get plus 333 with Philly money line, or we can take Philly minus 6.5. Which would you rather have? Let me see what minus 2.5 gets us to. Bruno says hi for anybody who can hear him. Minus 2.5 gets us to plus 354. Minus 6.5 gets us to plus 449. We're finalizing the parlay right now, Mark. We're deciding on the last leg. How confident are we in Philly is the question.
I mean, I'm pretty confident in Philly, but
let me check the.
I mean, we still get. You said it was 368 with the minus 2.5.
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, that's not bad.
If the systems are on our side, the systems and the trends, then I'm doing it. If they're not, then we'll go with money line. Fade teams coming off great offensive home wins. 57% win rate. That's a big one. That's such an odd system. Fade the Bears in week 13 when the spread is between 9.5 and 8.5, like as far as them being favored one way or underdogs the other. And the game total is over 31.5. 24-6. Eagles facing teams that just scored 28 or more points in previous games at 33-15 since 2014 against the spread. Yeah, bro, every system is on the Eagles, so we're taking the minus 6.5. So Saquon touchdown, Saquon 80 yards, Philly minus 6.5 is what we're doing, and we are maxed at $10. Of course we are. So why wouldn't we be? So we'll lock that in. And then we'll do the $5 lotto on DK. We go Monungai touchdown. What else do you want in there? We are open to recommendations from the chat. Give us your favorite lotto type looks. Let me put the parlay on the screen so you guys can see it as well while we talk about the lotto.
Shit, I want a Burden touchdown.
You want a Burden touchdown over Monungai?
Low key.
We're going to have to put both of them in then because I really want Monungai.
Yeah.
That should not be minus 250. Let me see if there's an either in there. Oh, that's only on FanDuel. We can do that, actually. I forgot about that. All right. Parlay is now on the screen for you guys. And then we're cooking up a nice lotto look as well. I'll tell you what, between Burden and Manunga, if one of them is the best line on DK, then that's what we'll do. Touchdowns. Manunga is plus 250 on FanDuel, plus 245 on DK. Burden is plus 500 on that's about 255. Plus 430 on FanDuel, plus 425 on DK. It's the same difference. What's the Burden lore? Indulge me. Is he getting usage in the red zone, or is it just you just think he has a big day?
I just think he has a big day.
Oh, that's not how we do touchdowns. Come on now. Let's see.
Let me check red zone usage.
I'm checking right now. Where's red zone? Here we are. On the season, he has had 3 red zone targets. If I check
on
last
the season, don't mean shit because he didn't play.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I'm going step by step. Don't worry. I'm looking at last 5 weeks. Last 5 weeks, it gets worse. He has not had a red zone target in the last 5 weeks.
Sorry, he's getting a 30-yard touchdown.
He's had 9 red zone snaps in the last 5 weeks.
All right, we could throw Kyle in there. I guess.
I'll tell you what. If I end up being wrong, and Burden scores him and that guy doesn't, you can single-handedly choose a touchdown for the next 3 ones we do. I won't even offer a word. You got it all. All right, so Manunga touchdown. Let's get Dallas Goedert, 50 yards? Those 2 alone already take us 2 plus 750. Let's get one or 2 more legs in there. What do you want to see in there besides Burden touchdown?
You thinking Dallas Goedert?
Yeah. Who are you thinking?
No, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Should we get Zacchaeus 2 receptions?
I don't know if I could do it.
Don't like any longest receiving props. Can you ladder longest rush props? Is that only an ESPN thing?
It might be only ESPN.
I think it is. Let's find out. Yeah, you can't do it on FanDuel. That's annoying. Or I could have sworn you used to be able to. There's something else that we're skimping over. Let's see if anybody said anything in the chat we can use. Saquon most rushing. I don't think that'd be a lotto type look. I think that's pretty juiced. Goddard longest reception. Already got his receiving yards in there. Burden 50 yards. You know what? Should we just do Burden? I don't have any Burden.
Throw his yards in there.
Yeah. That way, if you get the 40-yard touchdown, you won't be mad at me. We can just be happy.
That's fair.
Can I make it? No, I can't make this bigger. All right. Where's Luther Burden? In the cold weather. Who cares about weather? They're doing this on the Yak anyways. Plus 2,200 on DK. With the boost, plus 2,860. Stupid $5 max. Why don't they like us?
They never will.
I'll get this on the screen as well. And then, yeah, that wraps it up. Good luck to everybody.
In our parlay, in our lotto.
Yes, as always. And let me get the lotto on the screen. Game starts in 10 minutes, so y'all better lock in. Here's the lotto as well. I'm going to get this sent out to Cord and post it on Twitter as well, and we'll get this thing rolling. P Parlays coming for NFL with links. How many units on the lotto? I was limited to 0.1 and 0.05. So if your limits are different, feel free to ask how we would adjust the legs, or if we would still take it for that many units. But that's where my units are at for this one.
Yeah, I would say 0.1 probably.
Oh, for the lotto, my general rule of thumb is if I post something that's above plus 1,000, 0.1 units. If it's below that, anywhere between 0.25 and 0.5, depending on how aggressive you want to be with it.
Yeah.
But when there's a boost, I generally just max out the boost. But I also make the parlay with it in mind that that's how many it is. So like if I have a $100 limit on a boost, I'm not making a plus 3,000 parlay. I'm making like a plus 300. But if I have a $5 max, I'm making a lotto, like plus 3,000. How many? So this was 0.1 units. That's what I was limited to. If I didn't have the limit, but I had the same 50% boost, I'd probably go up to half unit. Without the boost, I'd stick to 0.25. All right, that was complicated. Let me simplify it. Without the boost, 0.25. With boost, but your max is a higher portion, 0.5. My card is 0.1 units because that's what my limit was. On this one, I have at 0.05. I do 0.05 to 0.1. NBA bets soon. What's happening here? Yes, once I'll probably craft them while we're watching the game. Any other questions before we sign off? I think we're good then. JJ, good to see you as always. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Twitch or YouTube or whatever you're watching on so you don't miss the future streams. We do this for pretty much every PrimeTime game. Otherwise, JJ, sign us off.
Hey, man, we need some money for them Black Friday sales, right?
We do. Hey, we profited yesterday.
We did. Now we need some more.
All right. Take care, everybody. Good luck.